let's get to our first topics. Benefits. Cut them or leave them. 0207 862 2222 is the number that you need. Now, this is the paper today. Benefits turmoil, number 10, as Labour MPs fight Reeve's plan to cut welfare. Keir Starmer's team have reportedly held crunch talks with dozens of Labour MPs who are angry about plans to slash welfare payments. The government reportedly wants to cut the universal credit rate for those deemed unfit to work, while raising it for those who are in work or looking for work. Now, they're also set to freeze the rate of personal independence payments, those PIP payments, a disability benefit not linked to work, and also make it harder for people to qualify for PIP payments. Now, one MP told the Eye that number 10 are panicking and will have to back down. But the reforms could reportedly save more than £6 billion. So the government, should they stick to their guns? Should they go ahead with it? Bobby, what do you think? I mean, we should say the background of all this. Rachel Reeves thought she would have this fiscal headroom.
Yeah.
Traditionally, what the Chancellor has to play with, that's been wiped out because the money that we're borrowing costs more. We're also just committed to spending more on defence, although that's coming out of foreign aid. But the Treasury is running out of cash. So is benefits the right place for them to find that cash?
So I think it's a question of economics versus morality, because why does the benefit system exist? I think it's meant to be a safety net to protect the most vulnerable in our society, such as those who are disabled or sick. And we need to think about what type of society do we want to live in a compassionate one that we support the most needy, or do we try and punish people because of positions that they're not able to help themselves being in? And actually, I think in this country, there's almost like this ludicrous notion that we think we can incentivize people that are not able to work to get into work. So if you're ill long term, saying, actually, just get off your backside, go into work. And I think that shows a basic lack of humanity. So I understand economics. I worked in the city in my 20s. I understand the bottom line, the balance sheet, making sure that things add up and balance each other. But we are still ultimately quite a well-off country, and we should make sure that moves like this, where we're slashing benefits for the most vulnerable, I think it just shows cruelty and callousness.
Angela, do you agree?
No, not at all. Not remotely. Look, Labour is committed to social justice. That's it's very much its USP. We know that they got a real hammering for cutting the winter fuel payments, which was a stupid thing to do, because there were clearly pensioners in need of that extra amount of money in order to not have to choose between heating and eating. But we have a real issue of a kind of cycle of welfare dependency in this country, whereby those who have somehow found that it is more cost effective to not work than work are somehow able to do so.
But that's what they're trying to fix.
Right, exactly. So therefore, that's why I absolutely agree with this need to do this, to slash benefits. We need to make work pay, but we need to also make sure that the money that is available goes to the places of highest need. And that seems to be the grey area, the rabbit hole that we have at the moment. So yes, there is a need to tighten the eligibility criteria to ensure that those who potentially can work, the so-called economically inactive that we have in huge numbers in this country, are not able to persist in that status because of the welfare benefit system. And those that need it are able to then get the resources that are available. I mean, I think the PIP is a bit of a red herring, because that's in terms of slashing that, because that's not about getting people back to work. That's providing further assistance for those who clearly are compromised.
At the moment, the PIP, it's 3.4 million people are eligible to claim. The maximum you can get, because there are different levels of what you can qualify, but the maximum you would get if you qualified for everything from those PIP payments, bear in mind that there are other payments that you qualify for, but solely looking at the PIP, that would be £9,600 a year.
But though that's an extra benefit for those who are incurring costs because of the disability, and one would hope that for those people who are unfortunate enough to be in that position have already been recognised by the state as being in need of benefits because of their compromised situation, and the PIP exists as an extra layer of help for them.
OK, let's find out what people are saying at home. Sandra has got in touch from London. Sandra, good morning. Do you think the government need to try and find the money elsewhere, or are benefits the right place to look for that extra cash?
No, they need to find it elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Why do you think that? Do you think that the system at the moment is fair?
It is fair if you have to claim it because you cannot work. Mm-hmm. Then what else can you do?
Do you not think that at the moment, what the government is saying is that they feel that some of the people who are getting some of that help perhaps would be better off in work, or perhaps shouldn't qualify for that help? They think that some of the help is going to people who actually don't need it and should actually, instead of claiming that, should be out working. That's what the government think. Do you disagree?
I disagree because, first of all, where are those jobs? Mm-hmm. Especially with the onset of AI. And second of all, my daughter has a disability and she has a condition called neurofibromatosis type 1. She has a job. She works for 14 hours a week in a nursery, and she has done so for 12 years. Now, she, at the moment, is trying to get the amount of benefit aside from her work that she is entitled to, and we have been trying all year for this. Okay. It's not easy to get it. No. And the thing is, people not just on disability benefits. I mean, when you're, say, a single mum with a 2-year-old child now, you have to go out looking for work. It is very hard when you have young children to get the childcare, to look for work.
And childcare being so expensive as well. Sandra, thank you for kicking us off. Let's speak to Terry, who's in Dorset. Terry, welcome to the show. Good morning. Benefits, should they cut them or leave them alone?
Oh, good morning. Good morning, panel. They should definitely cut them. Without a doubt, they should cut them. Now, on this programme, it's come up before. Everybody talks about those people that disability or other problems with them. Yeah, probably shouldn't cut that. But there are hundreds and hundreds of people that swing the lead. They don't want to work, and they never have worked.
But isn't that the problem, Terry, though, that to be so granular, if you like, to figure out exactly who needs them and who actually can be pushed a little bit to do without them, that is actually the difficult part. And actually, to do that, you need to pour even more money into the benefit system, because that needs people to assess everybody.
No. I know someone very close to me that worked for an organisation that tried to get people back into work. They used to come in with no shoes on. They used to smell, so they had to go home for a shower before they could be interviewed. And years ago, if you didn't accept 3 jobs that were offered to you, that's right, you'd have your benefits cut. And that never worked.
OK, Terry, I have to leave it there because of time, but you make a good point. Those rules did, in fact, exist, that you had to take one of those jobs if they offered to you, and then you could lose your benefits. Look, we're going to continue our conversation after the break. Let's go straight to Sheffield, where Claire is waiting to speak to us. Good morning, Claire. Do you think the government should be cutting benefits?
No, I really don't think they do. They've got plenty of other options. They don't have to be so strict with the fiscal rules. They've already made pensioners pay for the difficult circumstances we're in at the moment, most vulnerable people in society. And I don't think they should make disabled people pay either. I'm disabled myself. I'm on PIP. I'm terminally ill with cancer. I run a support group for people in Sheffield with terminal cancer who are under the age of 60. It's absolutely virtually impossible to get PIP as it is. And, even people with terminal cancer find it really, really difficult to get it. I had to pack in work. I tried working for 6 months after my diagnosis, but I was just finding it too difficult and in too much pain and too tired and fatigued all the time. I've worked all my life, paid my national insurance, and, when I need support from the state, I'm having it now, and I'm really, really glad to have it. It makes a massive difference having PIP. They're planning definitely to freeze it and not put it up with inflation, which means I'll have a massive cut in income.
Yeah.
And I'm not allowed even to work again because I got my pension early from work, got retired early, and the basis of getting your pension early is you're too old to work and you're not allowed to work again to get your pension.
Claire,
so if I don't get my PIP anymore...
Claire, can I ask you about PIP, because there does seem to be this conception in the general public that it's really easy to qualify for, and all you need to do is convince someone that you've got a mental health issue and you immediately qualify for PIP payments. Can you shed some light on that? How easy is it to qualify for PIP?
Well, for me, because I was deemed as having less than 12 months to live, I could skip quite a few of the processes, so it wasn't too difficult for me. But unless you get your consultant to fill in the form saying that you've got less than 12 months to live, the process is really, really difficult. And they really come down hard on consultants to be, really prove why you've only got less than 12 months to live as well. It's hard for them to make that proof. And then if they're not sure whether you've got less than 12 months to live or not, you have to go through the full process. That involves filling in a 36-page form and having to go to a panel and justify why you should get this benefit. And I know quite a few people from my support group that it's taken them 2 years to get it approved.
OK. Claire, thank you. It's good to hear from you. And thank you for calling in this morning. Really appreciate it. Let's speak to Peter, who's in Leicestershire. Peter, welcome to the show. What do you think? Do you think that they should leave benefits alone, try and find the money from other parts of government spending?
I absolutely agree that the government should leave us alone. Any person with a disability benefit of any sort, myself included, we jump through hoops to get the benefit. I mean, I went through months and months and needed help to fill in a form that you think you can fill in yourself, but you can't. You need somebody who is not emotionally involved, so that person has to know all the ins and outs of your problems. And not all disabilities are visible. And people who walk around saying, well, they're just lounging on the settee all day and blah, 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 that has never happened with me.
Yeah.
I worked for a number of years, but could not work in the end because of the condition I've got.
Peter, let me just pause you there. I want to bring Angela in. You're supporting these cuts. What would you say to Peter and to Claire before that?
Well, I think the thing is that both callers, Claire, terrible situation facing terminal illness. Peter, through no choice of his own, clearly had a very strong work ethic and has had to surrender work. And I think that shows why this kind of broad brush approach to benefits so far has not served us well. We've heard from two callers who clearly deserved to be supported by the state because through no fault of their own, they have had to give up work. And the problem is that, unfortunately, just because Peter respectfully and maybe Claire have not met those people who have swung the system, there are people that do so because we know that a very kind of benevolent benefit system is ripe for being sort of used in a way that is entirely inappropriate. And that's the issue. That's what Labour is saying. I mean, for once, I absolutely agree with them. It's not stopping people like Peter or Claire getting what they absolutely deserve. They want to work. It's the people that clearly don't want to work.
But by association, we are going to be taking it that it's going to become even harder for people to prove that they are under situations that they deserve to get help. Peter, thank you for your call. Let's speak to Denise, who's got in touch from Berkshire. Denise, good morning. Do you think they should be cutting benefits or leaving them alone?
Well, I think Peter and Claire should not be included in this, and I don't think that's the intention, because if you've got genuine reasons for not being able to work, that's different. But I think there should be more assessment on the people that are not working. I was a social worker, and I used to go, what was then the DSS, if one of my clients, because I work with people with special needs, their benefits had got messed up. I used to sit there for 4 hours. That's how long it sometimes took. And I'd see young kids come in, do high fives, go out for a cigarette, go out for a bit of a breakdown. The thing is, what we're doing is we're raising the young people to think that they don't have to work. And quite often, people on benefits are better off than those people that are actually going to work. And I think that's just a really bad encouragement. I think the government, if it assesses people who've got disabilities, who've got genuine disabilities and need all the help that they can get. But I don't think this is what they're talking about. I think there's a lot of people out there that screw the system, and they know they're doing it and they're getting away with it. And there isn't really much of an assessment about people go in, they'll fill in the forms, they'll tick the boxes.
Okay, but Denise, we had Peter saying earlier that not all disabilities are visible. I mean, either we rely on the system that says, yes, this person qualifies because they have perhaps a mental health issue, or we don't trust the system at all. I mean, we have to accept that for some people, perhaps the disability, the inability to work is not going to be visible to us, but it might be visible to a professional.
Well, I think, that's exactly, bringing the professionals. I mean, it's the same as people...
But we've already got that.
Yes, and then that's what we're talking about. If you've got a professional saying that you have got these issues and you've got problems which make you unavailable to go to work, that's one thing. But I don't think on a wider scale, I think we're more or less talking about there is an awful lot. The majority of people out there are not the people that have got disabilities. A lot of the people are out there because they're used to not working. It's easier for them to not work.
Right. Okay.
They come up with reasons.
Okay. Denise, I get your point, and it's a point well made. Let's take another quick call. Stephen in Buckinghamshire. Stephen, welcome to the show. What's your view? Should they be cutting these benefits? Are there too many people that are just abusing the system?
Well, basically, my point is I'm both benefits. I have universal credit because I'm a carer for my son, and he receives PIP at the moment. My daughter is in receipt of DLA and she'll be changed to PIP soon. So I'm affected by both ends. And what I wanted to quickly say is because my son is on that, I can then be a carer, which means I can then get the universal credit. But my worry is that when they start messing around with things and not put social support into place and support, like my children, obviously, as I say, getting older, they want to work, but they're never going to be getting a job which is highly paid, which is going to make sure they don't have to have any benefits. But equally, they may need support to get to work. So things like need a companion for public transport needs to be paid for from somewhere. Yeah. And equally, from my point of view, if I couldn't have been my son's care and I'd have had to work, then there would have been a huge cost of looking after them while they're not at school or school holidays. So it's my thinking that they're just going to move one cost onto another.
One cost to another. Stephen, thank you. Another very well-made point, not just those payments, but everything around them. Look, thank you all for your calls on this. Really fascinating to speak to you who are actually going through these processes. Well, later we're going to be asking...